Hey, what's up, everybody? Looks like I am live, and it looks like we are gonna do this thing. I originally had planned on doing it with Mooch, but for some reason, the way that I had it set up, it was just a constant echo and a constant kind of hassle, so I wasn't able to get Mooch in on this stream. We're working on it, and there's gonna be some interesting stuff coming up. So hopefully, you guys are definitely gonna be interested in that kind of stuff. So I appreciate everybody that came out today to get my thoughts on what's going on. So yeah, I definitely appreciate it. Hold on one second. I gotta actually go out and mute that real quick. Sorry about that. Yeah. So I'm out here and I'm kind of doing my thing and just having a good time watching this. Again, you probably will notice that I didn't really, uh, you know, I didn't really talk a lot of crap about it. I didn't really say anything bad or anything like that. I just kind of did my own thing, and I really waited for Microsoft to kind of showcase what they were doing, and that's the thing that I kind of wanted to get out there was yes, I definitely wanted to wait and see what they did before I actually kind of commented on it. I mean, I know I usually take kind of jabs and stuff at what they're doing, and I kind of did that. I didn't want to do that this time. I wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt, and so far that's what I did. So if you guys could go ahead and tweet this out, like it, all that kind of stuff. I would appreciate it. Hey, what's up, everybody? I really appreciate you guys joining, all that kind of good stuff. Hopefully, you guys can hear everything, and it sounds good on your guys' end. So, anyway, I thought it was a really good, or you know what? Here, let me just be honest with you guys, okay? That show left a lot to be desired, okay? I just kind of want to be honest about that and upfront about it. It's not hate, it's not anything like that. I really felt like, what they did was they left the door open completely for Sony, and I just felt like with what Sony was able to accomplish with their event was much better, and it put them in a much better position than what Microsoft is. And people probably aren't going to want to hear that, and I understand that, because here's where I stand on this, right? I was talking to Mooch beforehand, and I was like, you know what? It made me want to cry. You know what I mean? If I would have been live on the air with that, I probably would have cried. It was just kind of not a great. It was just not a great look in my opinion, and I thought, here's the thing, okay? They start off with Halo. Hey, that's really good. I thought Halo looked okay. It doesn't look next gen, so I was disappointed with that. The world was sparsely populated, right? So that really shows you that it was kind of held back. The other thing is we now have more information on what Halo Infinite is, okay? It's not even going to be a complete game when it launches this year. 343 views Infinite as a platform, quote unquote, so they turned Halo into a games as a service that grows over time. Infinite is the last standalone release for the foreseeable future. New story content will be launched for Infinite. Free ray tracing update after launch. So, again, this is like an incomplete game. Guys, girls, everybody, this is the thing that I've been crusading against. This is the Game Pass model, right? State of Decay 2 launched unfinished. Sea of Thieves launched unfinished. Gears of War launched unfinished. Now Halo is launching unfinished. I just don't understand what the thinking is and why they're doing it that way. People that listen, I was hyped up for this game just like everybody else, and then you start to hear a lot of the details and stuff, and it just doesn't sound like it's that good. With the whole games as a service model, I don't know if that's going to be a good thing for Halo or not. It doesn't grip me as like something that's really that's going to grab me. And again, this was supposed to be the Halo game that puts 343 back on the map and puts Halo back on the map. And then you have this situation where it's a games as a service, and that doesn't really thrill me, right? This game could score pretty bad when it comes to reviews and things like that. So I do think that that's a little bit of a letdown, in my opinion. Like, did anybody else here want to see this as a games as a service? I'm very curious. Mr. Miracle says there's literally no one else to blame for the current state of Xbox than Phil Spencer. He has zero idea what gamers want. So disappointing. Listen, I'm completely disappointed too, you guys. Listen, I'm going to cover everything that I saw because I got to be honest. Listen, if you didn't like the Xbox One, I liked the Xbox One, especially at launch. Now, here's the funny thing. They show Xbox One and people gave it all kinds of crap because of the DRM and all that kind of stuff, right? And well deserved. They were trying to take your rights away. But you know what they at least showed? They showed Killer Instinct. They showed 4 new AAA IP. They showed Titanfall, Quantum Break, Rise Son of Rome, and Sunset Overdrive. 4 brand new AAA IP, right? Silverback says, what a disappointment, so much hype and splat. Yeah, I don't understand it. Yeah, Halo Midfinite. If I had to give that, I'll give a rating for it later. Mooch is in the chat. But I have to say, look at the Xbox One. For as much crap as people give the Xbox One and the reveal and the E3, they actually had 4 new AAA IP to showcase. They brought back stuff like Killer Instinct, right? They showcased that Shanghai thing, which ended up, they ended up going on to be the Coalition and stuff. But they at least teased some stuff, and they got people excited for the console. They had some big third-party stuff. With this, there was literally no surprise. So if you guys have been paying attention at all, we've been seeing, what's up, Snakes? We've been seeing, and I've been telling you for years that Fable was coming from Playground Games. That's cool, but that's all we've gotten. We get that little CGI bit. Like, I get it. They're keeping the humor, and that's good. But I expected them to showcase the seasons and things like that. So I was very kind of let down by what we saw. Like, why not show us a little bit of gameplay of Fable? Show us something. And we didn't get anything. And so I was left disappointed with that. When it comes to, the only thing, where was the surprises at? This has been a company that for 5+ years has given us nothing. They gave up in 2015, and 5 years. They've had 5 years to prepare for next generation, and the only thing that they're giving us is stuff that we've already seen and that we've already had. Like, I don't understand the thinking that Microsoft was doing with this. Okay, it's like Fable, like Forza, Halo. This stuff failed for them this generation, but that's like the main focus point on on the whole thing. And it's like then they do this big section of like AA games, like timed exclusives. Even the Medium, that's confirmed like a timed exclusive. Like, I do not understand the thinking of what Microsoft was actually thinking here. Like, it realistically was like a little bit weird to me. And it's like, okay, Halo Infinite, we get to see that. It doesn't look that good to me. It doesn't look super next gen to me. I was a little bit disappointed with that. I think it seems like it's going to be a fun game, but it doesn't look like just looks like Halo in my opinion. So it didn't look like something like, oh my gosh, that's super incredible. I got to go out day one and get that or whatever. Hopefully that's something that changes as we get a little bit closer. But isn't the whole wasn't this whole thing to sell us on the Xbox Series X, right, ladies and gentlemen? We were supposed to be sold on the Xbox One X. If we get Halo Infinite for the Xbox Series X, that was going to be the reason, Halo, right? Because it was going to be phenomenal. It was going to do all this great stuff. And now it doesn't even have ray tracing at launch. Like, tell me again, why are we supposed to get the Xbox Series X? I do not understand. I think that, there's probably a lot of other podcasts going on right now that are damage controlling this. I would hope that some people lack the tenacity to actually go out and try to damage control this like it was some kind of huge event, because quite honestly, this was maybe one of the worst events that Microsoft has put on, and they've constantly let down people, right? Like, they've literally constantly let down people time and time again, and this was like no change to that, right? Like, I can remember messaging Mooch. Me and Mooch are like talking to each other, and there was like 20 minutes left, and he goes, "It's bad." And I said, "It's really bad. They got to pull up the nose here at the end. This is really bad." And he goes, and then they started talking. He goes, "What? No Fable?" And I was like, "Well, they still got a couple more minutes. They'll probably show Fable." But the more interesting thing was, and remember, I've been talking about this. Microsoft has been preaching how they were doing. They were super consumer friendly, right? We keep hearing how consumer friendly they are, but if you look at the games that they showed at the end of the trailers, it tells you what platforms they're coming to, okay? So they would say Xbox Series X, Windows, Xbox One. They would tell you which platforms that they were actually coming to, which I thought was very interesting. Now, anything that looked halfway decent, Fable, it just says Xbox Series X and Windows PC, meaning it's not coming to Xbox One, meaning you can surmise that these are 2 years out from the launch of Xbox One. So you're looking at almost 2023, okay? Since these things are going to launch in November, right, of 2020, you're looking at November of 2022 because they've made that promise that their games, their first-party games, are going to be, are going to be available on Xbox One. So you can kind of tell why they did that. It wasn't some grand overture, honestly, that, oh, they're so consumer friendly, they're going to look at the games that we're playing. Halo Infinite doesn't look that good. Like graphically, it doesn't look like the big showpiece like I was told it was going to be. The other stuff that they showed definitely doesn't look great. It doesn't look nothing they're doing looks next generation, as far as I can tell, from what they were able to showcase. And the stuff that looked like it might be decent, like Avowed, which was, by the way, Avowed is their first new AAA IP. It looks, I'm just going to go ahead and give them the benefit of the doubt and say it's Obsidian. It's their big A team working on it. That's their new AAA IP, the RPG, Avowed. That's their first new AAA IP announcement since 2015 E3. So 5 years later and some months, we finally get a new AAA IP announced, and we only get one, right? Again, go back to the launch of the Xbox One, they announced 4 new AAA IP. You go to the launch of the Xbox Series X, they give you one. And it looks like the In Exile, their game is 5 years out, and then you also have the Initiative, and their game is their game is, again, supposedly maybe Perfect Dark, so that's not a new AAA IP. So you're looking at one new AAA IP after all this time. I just don't understand what the thoughts is. True Witty says that's what happens when you hold on to old hardware. Yeah, listen, people told me this time and time again, and please, everybody hit the like button, like almost 700 watching. Okay, people, please hit the like button, share it out. We got a bunch watching. I would love you guys to, I'm going to answer questions and all that kind of stuff. I'm just in shock at how bad this was. I'm already seeing people wait for, wait for E3, right? Why? We shouldn't have needed to see Ori at 120 frames, right? Anybody interested in Ori 2 probably already played it, right? Is 120 frames going to make you boot that thing back up? I kind of doubt it. They showcased State of Decay 3. Okay, State of Decay 3. What exactly is going on where, State of Decay 3, and it's a CGI trailer. So we didn't even get much gameplay for Xbox Series X. Like what we saw with Halo Infinite looked okay, but there was a lot of pop-in. The worlds were sparsely populated. They weren't exactly mind-blowing. Then you see this trailer, I'm like, oh, what is this? And then it's State of Decay 3. And that's probably 3 years out, if not longer. So, yeah, it's a little bit disheartening to sort of see that. I do talk to Mooch. Me and Mooch, we're going to do this show. I'm working on putting together this thing so it works where I can get people, but I'm bad with this stuff. And the programs that I have were messing up, so I just had to go solo today. He was ready. We were in a room ready to talk, ready to do it, but in the preview, it kept sounding very much it kept on doing... it kept on doing like this loop thing. Darren Keithley says, you're such a fanboy, so Sony will launch with half a Spider-Man game, and you're their tip. No, listen, it's not the half a Spider-Man game, dude. Did you see the stuff that they announced at the Sony show? The Sony show was, the Horizon sequel. It was, yes, it's Spider-Man, and yes, that's a standalone game that's probably, 15 hours or whatever, but they're still going to launch a full Spider-Man sequel at some point in the next 2 years as well. They're still going to launch a full God of War game. Like, they're doing things, that realistically that Microsoft still aren't. Listen, if I'm so on Microsoft's tip, tell me this. I gave them this chance. I gave them till this is their E3. You're telling me if what we saw between the pre-show and this show was their E3 that you'd be happy with it? I'm not sure that you would be happy with it. And I think anybody that says that they would be thrilled with what they saw after the lackluster generation we have, how are you thrilled with that? I'm sorry, but I just don't see it. Let's see. Kazuya says it was an okay show, 6 out of 10. Good games, but the lack of gameplay was underwhelming. Greetings from Germany. You and Mooch are awesome. I appreciate it. M&C, going to happen this Sunday. We're back. We got more on it. Watch for Twitter. It's going to be great. Mr. Twister says, shout out to Crap for keeping it real. No more wait till this lineup was underwhelming in comparison to what Sony showed on a, quote, weaker console. I'll 100% back that up. Apparently, not even the Forza game is done well enough, right? So they mentioned the Forza game. They mentioned that it's early in development. That surprises me. You would figure you would want to launch your next console with a racing game, and the fact that it wasn't really kind of lets me down a little bit. There was not really much to get excited. I think like Dragon Quest was in the preview, was in the pre-show. That's cool that you got that people are going to be able to play that on Xbox. Because I actually played that on PlayStation and think it's a pretty decent game. But as far as I can tell, I'm a little bit scratching my head as to what exactly Microsoft was trying to accomplish with that. Like they were supposedly trying to do some amazing show, and I just feel like they really kind of just dropped the ball. I'm not exactly sure what was the thought behind, what they were doing. To be honest with everybody here, it kind of took me by surprise, and at the same time, I was a little like, listen, I know people are tired of me being negative. I completely get it. Right? I honestly was trying to be as positive as I can. If you go back and listen to the last couple Crossfires, I said I expect Halo to be great. They're going to announce Fable. I hear really good things about the show. And then when we actually get the show, it was like Psychonauts 2, which is a multiplat. That's going to be on PS4 as well. I don't understand that. Tetris Effect. Tetris Effect is a great game. I'm not going to lie. But you know where it's great? On PS4 with VR. Okay, that's the best way to play that game. Put a pair of headphones on in PSVR. You're totally immersed in Tetris. It's awesome. My wife loves it. It's a lot of fun. Why are they doing Tetris? I don't understand some of the announcements that they were doing, and it's a little bit frustrating because everybody told me that once they get to showing what's going on, you're going to be sorry. You're going to be crawling back to Xbox. First of all, let me say a couple things to the people that say that to me. Right? 1, nobody dictates what I game on. 2, I play great games. I want to play great games. So you might think I've been hard on them or something, but if they would have announced some great games, I was going to get an Xbox Series X and play those games. Nothing was going to hold that back. People would call me flip-flopper either way. It's basically people hold me at kind of ransom and say, well, now if you like Xbox, you're a flip-flopper. No, I've been hard on Xbox because of the lack of games. This was a disappointing show, right? I called what they were making over a year ago. People would go, how do you know what they're making? I'm like, well, Playground's making Fable, and they're probably making another Forza Horizon game. Turn 10's making a Forza Motorsport game. 343's making Halo. The Coalition is making Gears. Undead Labs is making State of Decay. Double Fine is making, Psychonauts 2 and whatever, and supposedly might be starting something else after that. I was pretty clear about it. It's like Age of Empires team is doing Age of Empires. Literally, we know everything that's coming down the pipe, and it's, Ninja Theory's doing Project Mara, whatever that double A is, and Hellblade. Hellblade must be so early in development, they're just doing scouting locations and stuff like that. So I think that these games are 2023 or later. And we've already, listen, Xbox people won't want to hear this. We're 10 months into a AAA drought right now. 10 months into a AAA drought. All right? U of M student says, I was going to get a next-gen Xbox, not after this showing. I'm sticking with my One X until 2022, 2023. Listen, I can't fault you for that, right? The One X probably is going to play Halo. This the same. Look, people told me Halo Infinite is probably going to be 120 frames on the Series X. It's 60 frames, the same as the One X. I do not understand this. I do not understand what Microsoft was thinking. Tell me why and all that AA stuff. People don't want to see that stuff, okay? People want to see huge AAA exclusives that kind of really showcase the hardware. I do not understand what they were thinking, okay? I don't understand how people were like, hey, this is going to be great. Not only that, but, I'm happy that we didn't see Battletoads and any of that kind of stuff. I just, in my opinion, I was like, why would they have to show off Grounded again? Or, that to me just kind of, you scratch your head a little bit. I just feel like that's not something that's great. And again, Everwild. I felt like Everwild is piqued my interest. I'm not going to lie. I love Rare. You know, I like Sea of Thieves. I haven't played it in a long time, but I hear that the content's like much, much better now. But at the same time, folks, what is that game about? This is the second trailer we've seen of that game, and we have no idea what that trailer is about. I can tell you one thing. It looks like that trailer is probably points out that it's a games as a service, and a lot of people will hate on me. I think Game Pass is a good value. I got to be clear about that. Game Pass is a really good value. But at the same time, folks, can we just now admit it that it looks like Game Pass has made Microsoft want to make everything games as a service? Look at Gears of War 5. You got to pay for everything, you know, or earn iron. You either play thousands of matches to earn iron or you got to buy them. You know, State of Decay, Sea of Thieves, even Forza Horizon 4 is games as a service. Everything they're doing with their first party is games as a service related, with the exception and possibly of Avowed. Maybe that's not, but like if it has any kind of single player element, and we don't know enough about Fable yet, but I would almost guarantee that Fable could be some kind of living world, or Fable could be. It looks like it's a straight up reboot, but I'm just kind of in shock at just how bad that showcase was, given everything that sort of came to pass. It really does sort of, really does sort of just come to blow my mind away. I really thought that they would kind of close the door on Sony, like show something, but again, they didn't really do a good job of that. They didn't really do it. It's like Outer Worlds DLC showcased on an Xbox event. Like that's a multi-plat game, you know. I'm just really curious because I see a lot of people. Some people in the chat are like, "Hey, well, you're just hating CG or whatever." I don't really think I'm hating on anything, you guys. I think that the honest truth of the matter is that I'm surprised that Microsoft didn't really go all out. It didn't feel like they went all out to me, and that is a little bit disappointing, in my opinion, because I just felt like, this is a $1 trillion company who says that they're all in. Microsoft is all in, and it's like they said they're not going to do any kind of weird announcements or anything like that. But then, it's like, oh, well, Destiny is coming to Game Pass. It's like, okay, that's great. But are we actually going to get something that's relative to the Xbox Series X? Like, so let me ask you guys this in the chat, and please hit the like button. Almost 1,000 people watching. Please hit the like button. What is the point of getting Xbox Series X this November? Just anybody in the chat, please let me know. Let me know. What is the point? What sold you on an Xbox Series X for this November that you saw today? I mean, maybe you were already sold on that beforehand, but what would make you want to go out and buy one? What, like, if you're somebody like me who was waiting to be sold on an Xbox Series X, what exactly sold you on that right now? I would just love to know that. Like, what exactly sold you on that? Like, I don't see the point yet. Okay, so they're launching with Halo, Psychonauts 2, like a cartoon game or whatever. What exactly am I supposed to be excited about, folks? Another State of Decay? Like, I don't get it. If somebody could clue me in, I might not be the smartest person, but what exactly was so great about that was, I kept getting told, wait till July. That's their big showcase. Wait till July. And before that, it was wait till E3, wait till E3. And I haven't seen any of that. I don't understand why it sort of has to go like that. Why do they continue? Why did I have to temper? I didn't temper my expectations. Maybe that's why I'm extra angry right now, right? Can you not feel the anger, the disappointment in my voice? It's not fake. It's not for clicks. It's not for any of that stuff. I'm keeping it real. I'm probably one of the few that actually will keep it real. I'm legit ticked off. I don't understand it. Sell me your console. What is Xbox not Xbox anymore? It's like it's not the Xbox that I know and love. It's so bad. It's so bad that we definitely don't understand how they can continue to drop the ball like this. I'm a fan. Like, I don't understand why they would continue to do stuff like this to a fan. I don't understand it. I'm flabbergasted, and it kind of annoys me that it's like that. Everybody was like, wait for it. Frostbite Slash says, I was told days ago that if I think The Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima will look better than Halo Infinite, then I need to go to the doctor. Yeah, well, I could definitely agree that those games look better than anything we saw on the Xbox showcase. Prince Xbox says, when considering X Series X this holiday, but this show solidified my first choice in PS5, stand with you crap. Thank you. Listen, like people were sending me messages. Oh, you really got you really kind of got raked over the coals crap. People really hated on you and you were kind of vindicated. Do I feel vindicated? I feel vindicated in a couple ways, but I also feel angry because I wanted Microsoft to close the door. I wanted Microsoft's event to blow Sony's away so that Sony could come back and outdo Microsoft again, right? That's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see that back and forth. With this, Sony doesn't even have to do anything today to outdo Microsoft. Like, Microsoft left that door open. Like, did we really want to see the medium again? Did we really want to see, like some of the stuff that they showcased just did not look very good to me. Hey, can we get a bunch of likes, man? Almost 1,000 watching. I would definitely love some likes. If you are new to the channel, thank you so much for watching. And if you guys could subscribe, if you haven't already subscribed, if you want to hit the bell so you're notified of everything as soon as it drops. M&C Mornings is coming back. I've got a Wednesday night podcast coming back. It's not going to be one-sided, I can promise you that. I'm going to have Xbox people, PlayStation people. It's going to be well-rounded. I feel like those type of talk shows and podcasts are a lot more entertaining to listen to when you have people who maybe don't agree all the time, instead of everybody just agreeing and being like, hey, this rocks, this rocks. Like, listen, when I'm on Crossfire tomorrow, I'm sure that Xbot will be like, hey, that was a dope show, yo. And that's going to be his opinion. I'm going to have a good time telling him why his opinion's wrong. But, no, I'm just kidding. I love Xbot. But, it's just one of those things where I do not understand some of the thinking with what was involved with actually putting on this show. Why did they wait so long? I just don't understand it. And also, just so you know, they confirmed that, like, Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis, it's going to also release on PS4 and Switch. Right? Like, all the stuff that what they actually did was like 80% multi-plat stuff that's going to be on other platforms as well. So, like, people wanted to see like their first party output, and what didn't we see? Like, In Exile, who's doing Wasteland 3 and just starting supposedly another AAA RPG. That's probably 4 or 5 years out, folks. So then there's Compulsion Games. Who knows what they're doing? But again, their track record isn't that great. They did Contrast and they did We Happy Few. Not great. Like, I'm kind of surprised. I mean, if it is indeed Perfect Dark, the game that the Initiative is working on, I think that I'm not the only one that's disappointed by that. So I can't believe how underwhelming that is. And I don't think it was a terrible show. Like, if you wanted to press me and go, well, hey, CG, what did you think? Do you think that's did you think it was a decent show? What would you rate the show? So if I had to rate it out of 10, I would probably give it a 6 out of 10. I think that it was a decent show, but it wasn't the show that it needed to be. It definitely wasn't the show that it needed to be, and that's unfortunate because I feel like, Microsoft and Sony, they're really kind of relying on these games to push us into the next generation, and I get no reason to buy an Xbox Series X. I didn't see a good reason to, like, nobody listed me a good reason. I'm sorry, like, in the chat, like, I was hoping you guys could have listed me a decent reason. I didn't see one. So we saw 9 studios is what you're saying, but the Coalition, we know they're just working on some gears, right? We also know that Minecraft, Mojang, they're multi-plat, so that they don't really count. So that's 11. Compulsion is 12. And again, their track record speaks for themselves. You also have In Exile, that's 13. Their track record speaks for themselves. They do mostly like PC type games, and they're releasing Wasteland 3. I just don't understand. Yeah, I know. Hey, some people call me CG, man. I can't really help it. Jay says his Game Pass Xbox is only hope. Listen, I think Game Pass is okay, but if you look at what we saw today, Game Pass might be the big problem too, right? Like, if you just look at it, Game Pass could be the big problem because look at the type of games that we're getting. Like, Halo's incomplete, folks. They've confirmed this. Halo is incomplete. Like, I don't know how else to say it. It's not even launching with ray tracing. It's a games as a service now, right? I don't understand it. I just feel like I got all kinds of emotion, you know? Like um, we're literally, so close to the launch of these next gen consoles, and one of my favorite franchises, Halo. You love seeing the story, and now it's just like this is it. There is like the thing says there is no Halo Infinite 2 according to 343. They're saying like this is basically it. You know, it sounds like they turned Halo into Destiny, and that I don't know if that's what people want. Like Destiny is Destiny. I don't like Destiny. I don't play Destiny. I just don't understand it. So, according to this, IGN spoke with Halo Infinite studio head Chris Lee. Lee revealed that Infinite is the last standalone release for the franchise for the foreseeable future. He says, Halo Infinite is the start of our platform for the future. We want Infinite to grow over time versus going to those numbered titles and having all that segmentation that we had before. It's really about creating Halo Infinite as the start of the next 10 years for Halo, and then building that as we go with our fans and community. This does not mean that Halo Infinite is a live service game a la Destiny, according to this, but it does mean that the new story experiences will be told underneath Infinite's umbrella, and it also means Infinite will be evolved technologically for quite a while. 343 confirmed that Infinite will get a free ray tracing update sometime after launch. Gameplay-wise, hopefully the move to Infinite as a platform won't mean that players are trapped in this Halo ring forever, but we'll have to wait and see what they say. So, again, they're using a lot of the same words, 10-year experiences and stuff like this. This sounds like this is like a Halo MMO almost, right? Like, I don't know if I want that. I get what Phil Spencer's saying, right? Because Phil Spencer has said this. He commented on this before. He said, we see games that release annually, and he says, well, Halo doesn't release annually, but you see them, and I guess he's like referring to stuff like Call of Duty, and then they compete with themselves to play the next one. I have to be honest. This is a part where I disagree with Phil, and I disagree with what's being said here. And the main reason why I'm kind of disagreeing with it is because, like for me, for instance, right? I like certain Call of Duties, but some people I know will only play a Modern Warfare Call of Duty or a Black Ops Call of Duty, right? Not everybody plays the same stuff over and over and over and over again. So you're not really competing with yourself if you come out with a new Infinite or a new game in 3 years. Just look at Halo 5. Nobody even plays that game right now, right? Like, eventually at some point you have to move on. Like, even if you keep content updates coming in, you still have to, people want something new, something drastically new in a relatively short amount of time. So 3 years or so. Like, they're saying that this is it. I just do not understand the thought process behind it, and why Microsoft is insistent on turning like their flagship franchise into a games as a service. I really don't understand it, and it baffles me. And as far as I'm concerned, it's a bit of a mistake. Now we're gonna have to learn a little bit more about it, I'm sure, but at the same time, I just feel like for right now, yeah, it's a pretty big mistake, and what they're going to be doing, as far as I can tell, is just kind of killing that franchise for me totally. Like, maybe I'm wrong, but if you guys know how I feel about Destiny and how I'm not a fan of Destiny, then you would realize how I feel about this. I definitely just do not feel like this was a smart move for Halo, right? Like the grapple hook, hey, that's dope. I think it looks cool. For me, turning it into, and let me point this out also, because it turns out I was right. Old hardware is holding back new games, right? I have to be 100% honest when I say that. It's pretty damn clear. Sorry, I had to take a drink. It's pretty darn clear that the old hardware has held back Halo Infinite. Like, people tried to say that it was one thing or the other, or that it was still going to be this or that. To me, the fact that this thing has to be on probably a Lockhart, a launch Xbox One from 2013, a S, a SAT, a Xbox One X, all different types of PCs, that fact right there tells me all I need to know, that this stuff was definitely held back, and it's disappointing. Yeah. So yeah, again, do I feel vindicated for being right? I don't know if I feel vindicated for being right. I feel more sad that I was wrong because if you watch the pre-show, man, people like don't even. They're like, there was one dude in the pre-show. I don't know if you guys watched Jeff Keighley's pre-show, but he was like, I use my Xbox for everything but gaming. Basically, he's like, I'm watching Netflix and 4K Blu-rays. Okay. What about the games? They're the most important thing. So again, Microsoft, people will go, Phil Spencer saved Xbox. Phil Spencer did this to Xbox. Phil Spencer did turn some things around. I 100% agree with that. But the video games themselves should have been the first thing you turned around and pumped out a ton of great exclusives. And the fact that they didn't accomplish that really is a letdown for me. And I'm sad by what I saw at the event and stuff like that. Hit the like button, guys. Let's get up over 100. Hold on. Jeremiah says, love you, crap, but on Halo Infinite, you are wrong. Halo Infinite gave me the Halo Combat Evolved strong vibes. Rest of the show, I agree with you, but Halo Infinite looked awesome. Listen, I'm not saying that Halo Infinite didn't look like it was going to be fun. What I'm saying is they turned that franchise into a games as a service. You're not going to get another one. They're saying that this thing's going to be like Destiny with weeklies and dailies, and they're just going to drop like shadow keeps and these type of things. That's not really where I wanted to see Halo go. That's a me thing. That's a me thing. Victor Suarez says, I do not feel disappointed because I knew this was going to be more of the same Xbox as every year. Sony should quadruple their production. Listen, I agree. I don't understand what they were thinking. What's up, Xbox? Xbot, I see you in there in the chat. I hit the like button, please. Let's get up to over 500. I would appreciate it. Listen, I just think that it's going to be weird. And actually, I look forward to talking about that with Xbot tomorrow, how he feels, because now that we know that Halo is going to be like a games as a service and there's not going to be like more like 3 years later, like they're planning this to be like a 10-year thing. And I'm just really kind of weird to me that that's the sort of the way that this happens. So listen, the Geeky Nerd says Fable didn't even get a year. Most of that stuff that we saw that didn't get a year or anything is 2022, 2023, past the 2-year buffer zone. I think that's really something that people have to kind of realize. And maybe even further, if you look at State of Decay 3, that's probably even further out than that, because let's be real, we didn't get any kind of year. That we got was a CG trailer. There was really a lack of gameplay overall with that. So Judah Zook says, did anyone else notice that the pilot in the Halo game sounded like he had a French-Italian accent? The next scene, he sounded like he was Scottish. It's so weird. I don't know, man. But supposedly, that game has cost $500 million, and I don't see where they spent that. I have no idea. Stell says PS4 Ghost of Tsushima graphics look better than anything I saw at the Xbox event. I can actually agree with that. Neil says Halo was running on Xbox One. Was it running on Xbox One? Why wouldn't they show that on Series X or a PC or the One X? I don't understand why they would showcase it the way that they did. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I really felt like they kind of dropped the ball. They could have really showcased something fantastic there, and they really kind of dropped the ball for me personally with the Halo thing. Like, I thought it looked okay, but it definitely didn't look like this amazing piece of tech that they've been promising. So here's the thing. I'm honestly so unimpressed with it. We'll have to see, Halo Infinite. Well, here's the thing. Now the articles are coming out. Here's an article from Game Revolution. Says Halo Infinite screenshots don't look very next gen. New Halo Infinite screenshots have landed after today's Xbox Game Showcase, but they struggle to show off the capabilities of the Xbox Series X. The new screenshots have been lifted from the game's single-player campaign showcased during today's event, but they're decidedly lacking considering they were captured on Microsoft's next-gen console. So it's confirmed that they were playing that on the Series X. Yikes. The Halo Infinite gameplay reveal was deemed underwhelming by some, with it showing off a traditional single-player campaign and a map. 343 Industries promised that it's its biggest yet. However, some have pointed out that the game didn't look like a massive leap technically, with these new screenshots also failing to do a great job of showing off the technical capabilities. As with all Xbox Series X games, Halo Infinite will also be playable on the Xbox One. This means that the game will need to achieve parity between the next-gen console and the 2013 hardware. Wow, who does that sound like for the last 18 months? Me! That's who! Me! I don't need some southern accent to be right. I don't need to, have a banjo playing at the beginning of my videos. I've been saying this for a long time. You have to launch this thing on a console hardware from 2013 that's running with hardware that was built in 2010. There's no PCs from 2010 that are playing today's games in 2020, right? But yet Halo Infinite and all these other first-party games are going to have to run on that hardware from 10 years ago. Again, I ask you, how is that consumer friendly? Here, spend $550 on our new console, and for 2 years it's going to be held back because we're going to be playing, everything. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. It absolutely doesn't make sense to me, and I'm surprised and kind of a little bit ticked off by it as well, to be honest with you. I don't get it, man. One of my favorite games, man. Man, I really appreciate everybody stopping in. Please hit the like button, share it out. I really do like you guys, man. I appreciate all the love and support. Hit the like button. I would love to get 500 likes, man. If you enjoy the content, look, I'm unscripted. I tell this all the time. It's a way of life for me, okay? Go back and look at my videos now. I do new gameplay almost every day. I play the actual games. I'm playing games all the time now. I'm learning more about technology. This is the New Crap Gamer reviews. I got more reviews ready to drop and things like that. I wanted to get today out of the way. I got new podcasts coming. Hopefully you guys can come with me for that journey. I understand that I had to kind of start over with my channel a little bit because once you start being honest about Xbox's failings, a lot of people don't want to hear it. I'm hopeful that, they can still turn things around, but I got to be honest when I say that was a lackluster thing. 6 out of 10 for me if you're just joining me. 6 out of 10. I don't understand where, what they were thinking. Phil Spencer literally just came out the other day and said that the games aren't held back, but looking at what we've seen, it does look like it was held back. So I just don't understand it. Dante, right? He goes, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. I don't know how to explain it. Here's exactly how you can explain it, okay? Temper your expectations. I can't say it any better than that. Like, I went into there excited because I was told by multiple people that it was going to be a great showing. If you follow me, we had Jeff Grubb on Crossfire the other week, and he said it's going to be a great show. He's an insider. He knows a lot of this stuff. But at the end of the day, I had heard from other people as well that, Halo was going to be a graphical showpiece and all this great stuff. But when we actually see the games, to me, it didn't look super next-gen. I think the game looks fun. I'm going to play it. But did it look super next-gen to me? Does it make me want to get an Xbox Series X? No. Spider-Man, Horizon Forbidden West, Ratchet and Clank, these games make me want to buy a PlayStation 5, right? Ray tracing, I'm sure, isn't going to be sold separately or updated later. Launch a game when it's ready. My big beef with Microsoft for the last few years has been incomplete games. Incomplete games. How are these games so incomplete? I get it that games as a service is a thing and you make money from it. But do you guys, even you big Xbox fans, I know there's probably still some Xbox fans here. Do you really in your heart of hearts want to play incomplete games all the time? And then you can't just go, I had somebody message me and go, well, crap, what do you expect? He goes, you can't complain, they're on Game Pass. That's what he said to me. Think about that for a second. You can't complain, they're on Game Pass. Wait, I can't complain because they're on Game Pass? Are you telling me that low quality and half-finished games, I just should accept them because they're on Game Pass and people can get them for $1? That's not how gaming works. If that's how Game Pass works or how people view Game Pass, I'm sorry, then I hope that Sony never goes that route, right? And the reason why I would hope that they never go that route is their games are complete. There's not a bunch of microtransactions. You buy a game, you play it, it's great. You know what I mean? There's some games that aren't amazing, but holy cow. I don't understand how people are just well, it's in Game Pass, so let's let it slide or whatever. I don't get that mentality. You should still demand better. You should still demand better from these companies. You should still demand better from Microsoft, right? I don't care who you are. if you're not demanding better from these companies, and that goes with Sony too, man. If you're not happy with something Sony does, demand better from them as well. Like there's nothing about above that, but it's like Tetris Effect. Come on, man. Grounded. Did we really need to see that? Like honestly, Psychonauts 2 that got delayed, by the way. Now it's coming in 2021, so that's not even a launch title, right? Like, like I thought the Jack Black thing was pretty cool, but dang, like how is this even a thing? Hey, can we get up over 500 likes? I would appreciate it. You guys are absolutely amazing and one of a kind. I love doing these live videos. Hopefully you guys enjoy them too. I'm not done by any means. I just wanted to take a breath for a second because holy cow, I got so much to say about this. I just don't understand exactly, exactly what's going on, with Microsoft's thinking. Their whole idea is just something that that I don't get, man. Like, I'm blown. Like, people are sending me all kinds of stuff right now. Like, hey, congrats, Crappy, you're vindicated. Here's 10 T-flops versus 12 T-flops. And they show the Horizon Forbidden West screenshot versus this really bad-looking one of the bad guy in Halo Infinite, which doesn't look that great. Listen, maybe they're going to patch the 12 T-flops in later. I don't know what they're going to do. But, I don't understand, why anybody would think, oh, man, this is so great or this was a great show. Like, I don't understand it. Honestly, what did we get? Again, we got more people in here now. Thank you guys so much for joining. Over 1,000 watching. Hit the like button, share it out, subscribe if you haven't already done so. From my point exactly, because there's more people now than when I first started, what would sell you or me on Xbox Series X at this point from what we saw in that event? What was a surprise to you at that event that we saw? Was there any kind of surprise at all? Was there a surprise that anybody saw? A surprise that was like, oh, wow, an oh, crap moment? Like, for me, when I watched that the PS5 reveal event, the fact that they have a Spider-Man game at all and that Horizon sequel is coming within the launch window, that was a surprise. People said there's no way that's going to happen. It looks like that is happening. Another Ratchet and Clank. They had GT. They had surprising. They surprised me. Okay. On Microsoft's side, was there any surprise? Like, what was the surprise? Hey, LaMarcus, I don't know. Again, I don't want to hear anybody talk about 12 T-flops when those are the games that we're showcasing. Okay? Like, those are the games that they seriously showcased. Those are the T-flops, right? That just goes to show you, right, what I've been saying all along. T-flops are irrelevant. It comes down to the games. It's all about the content. Chris says, I didn't see any mic drops today, just a ball drop. I agree. Mr. Glass, hold on. Mr. Glass says, Crap Gamer never says anything sensible. He's still butthurt that Phil broke up with him. Listen, so I'm not saying anything sensible. What, Mr. Glass, I'm giving you the floor. What exactly did Microsoft showcase today that was a surprise, one, or a mic drop moment, or B, would make me want to get an Xbox Series X or anybody buy an Xbox Series X? I'm talking graphically or anything. Keep in mind, Halo, they confirmed, is an incomplete game. It's not even launching with ray tracing, so we don't even get to see an accurate representation of it, and we're 4 months away or whatever. So please tell me how I'm not saying anything sensible. I did give them plenty of time. I waited. I'm waiting. Xbox says Halo, Fable, the gunk. Listen, Xbox, I'm talking about getting an Xbox Series X this year. Fable is probably 2022, 2023. The gunk, I don't know. Avowed, we got a CGI trailer. The Medium is, they confirmed, as a timed exclusive. Forza, Forza is, again, they said early development, so that's not even a launch game. I'm really kind of surprised at that. I would have figured they would have been a little bit further along, but I guess no crunch, no lunch. I don't know. Sorry about that, guys. It's all this talking. I'm just so animated and so kind of, I guess, angry over this stuff. There was really not much there. You know what I mean? Like, all that power talk, and what we saw was like, Game Pass, save money. I guess. I mean, save money on what though? Those games didn't look impressive. You know? If you're gonna, you would be a sucker, I think, to buy Halo Infinite at launch. It's not going to be a completed game. It's not going to be complete. Like, I don't understand the thought process behind that. An incomplete game, and people are like, oh, well, Game Pass it. Well, I guess so, given the fact that it's an incomplete game. Like, are we going to get completed games from Microsoft anymore? I think that's really kind of my question. Is there any chance that we're actually going to get completed games from here on out when they launch on Xbox? I would love to see that. Mackenzie says, I'm personally disappointed with both PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. I'm going to wait 1 year for them to get cheaper. Until then, I'll stick with my PS4. I mean, I'm not going to say you're wrong for that, but for me, like, the stuff that I saw from Sony within that first year impressed me enough to want to buy a PS5 day one. So there's that. And again, with Microsoft, Halo Infinite looked underwhelming. I got an Xbox One X. It's not real. I wanted them to give me a reason to buy a a Series X, and they haven't really done that yet. Maybe they held something back. Red Nose says, do you think PS5 will win this console war again? Yes, not even a doubt. I really think. We'll have to see how that works out. But yeah, I was disappointed. Developers given a 360 to build games. Yeah, listen, I think that we've learned quite a few things today. One thing is games have definitely been held back, unfortunately. I was hoping that we would get some games that would just absolutely blow our minds, but it didn't really happen. Unfortunately, I mean, that stuff kind of happens sometimes. But at the same time, I feel like, the couple things that I did see, like a Vow, kind of looked cool. But to me, that looked maybe like it was like a Skyrim wannabe or something. But it looks cool. And at least they did get that one new AAA IP. I was looking for at least 2 to 3, to be honest with you, because I covered this earlier. Now there's over 1,000 people watching. Listen, the Xbox One, regardless of where you stood on it when they announced it, between the reveal and E3 2013, they showed off 4 new AAA IP. Titanfall, Rise Son of Rome, Sunset Overdrive, and Quantum Break. 4. And they brought back killer awesome games like Dead Rising and Killer Instinct. So, for me, there is a huge difference between that and then. Like, they say that Microsoft didn't support them then, but they had way more games. So I don't really understand where that's coming from. Like, where's the support coming from? Yes, they bought these studios, but I turned out right. Like, all of them are making stuff we already knew about. And the stuff that maybe we didn't know about is so far out, it's not even really worth mentioning. Like Everwild, I like the idea. What's that game even about? I covered this a little bit earlier. What's that game even about? What's the gameplay? Like, they don't even have any gameplay yet. They don't know what it is. It just looks like some kind of games as a service where people are kind of exploring this world. Okay, that could be a cool idea, but what if it's 3 years away still? Like, I don't understand the thought process. Like, this is supposed to hype me up for current gen, and it didn't really do a good job of that. Or for next gen, excuse me, and they didn't really do a good job of that. Mackenzie says, personally, I'm disappointed with the PS5 and Xbox Series X. I'm going to wait for them to get cheaper. Until then, I'll stick with my PS4 and PSVR. I don't blame you. Thanks for the $3. I appreciate the Motion Con or whatever. What gameplay did Sony show? Oh, hey, Sony showed different gameplay and stuff like that. I feel like Sony did a really good job. I'm with that. I just, and I don't hate Phil Spencer. I don't think Phil Spencer is a bad guy. I just think that he really kind of was underwhelming, with all this stuff. Like, here's the thing. You guys probably know, and I just saw this on Twitter from the Red Dragon. He posted this little video clip of Halo Infinite, and you can see the grass pop out. He goes, that isn't what I expected with Velocity Architecture. How many of you guys follow YouTubers who hyped up Velocity Architecture, 12 T-flops, all this kind of stuff, right? Again, you know what these YouTubers should have been talking about? Let's get those great games going. Let's get those AAAs, okay? Now, I guess the only thing that people can say is either one, damage control we just saw, which is easy enough to distinguish as lies because there was nothing that we didn't already know about with the exception of a vowel. We knew about every other thing in here. Everything. Every single thing. How is that 5 years ago Microsoft gave up? And I can prove that they gave up because in 2015, that's when they last announced a new AAA IP. In 2015, they closed down studios. In 2015, they canceled a bunch of games. They essentially gave up on the generation in 2015. So in 5+ years, that's the best they could do to get ready for next gen. Everybody told me they're packing it in. They're getting ready for next gen. Well, are they? Well, I mean, if they packed it in, like how come the stuff was already stuff that we saw? Grounded, Tell Me Why, Psychonauts 2. I'm honestly surprised that we didn't see Gears Tactics because I feel like they're going to try to push that. Battletoads and flight simulators coming to Xbox One this holiday to kind of bolster that launch lineup. Honestly, it goes to show you why when I was saying I was a little bit worried because it echoes the launch of the Xbox One X, almost like a mid-gen upgrade again to me, okay? Like, I don't understand why that's the concept. Like, you're going to have the same UI, the same controller, only with an added share function. I don't understand how they're kind of flubbing this. I get that it's a powerful console, but if you're going to hype velocity architecture and all this stuff, why is there all this grass popping and the graphics don't look great? I don't really understand why that is. You know, maybe I'm confused. I guess I just don't get it. You know, like, how is this stuff good to talk? Like, I don't understand how this is great stuff. You know, like, and I see my timeline is full of, like, disappointed people. And if you're not disappointed, I'm not trying to tell you that you should be disappointed. I'm just saying for me personally, this is one of the only times where I didn't temper my expectations. And I end up being disappointed because of it. You know, I really just lowered. Oh my gosh, why should I again? And I've ranted about this before. Why should I lower my expectations? You know, I just don't understand it. Every time I was told, don't. Ali Capo says this was supposed to be the show of all shows. Halo looked mediocre. Gameplay mad. No gameplay for Fable, Forza, or Hellblade 2. I like the indie game, The Gunk. Okay? Like, hey, I get it, man. Like, that's funny to me that the indie game was, like, the best thing that people were talking about. John T says, seriously, though, no cap, Stadia that bad? Stadia's dead. Nobody wants to stream stuff online except for Mooch, and I don't even think Mooch does that anymore. So, yeah, I don't think that that's really going to be something that... I don't think that that's something that could be there. Mackenzie Peter says, to be fair, PS5 and Xbox Series X, it took devs a few years to get into the meat of the hardware, so my guess 2022, we will start seeing better graphics, in my opinion. Listen, why is it then that the stuff that we saw running an engine on Horizon Forbidden West looks better than what we saw actual, you know, even in-engine stuff from the Xbox Series X? Supposedly, this thing is so much more powerful, and yet it's doing worse, like somehow worse. I don't understand it. Like, I don't understand, like, that Halo game does not look ready to me. Does not look ready to me at all. Mr. Eater, he says, other than Halo, the entire event was nothing but CGI. Microsoft hasn't been developing any games. Your boy Next Gen struggling to damage control. Listen, Next Gen, he prefers Xbox, man. The funny thing is, I prefer Xbox and the ecosystem and all that kind of stuff too, but I wanted them to give me a reason to buy a Series X, and I didn't really get it. Electric Puffin says Halo looked like a current gen game. I agree 100%. Like, I don't really get the whole focus of everybody's like, oh, we're gonna drop the mic, Stell says, where was the promise drop the mic moments, drop the mic and run before they started? Hey, man, I'm right there with you. I don't understand what the thinking was with that. Jason Green says, State of Decay looked good, but no gameplay. Listen, that was a trailer, a CGI trailer. State of Decay is still years out, and it's never going to look that good. State of Decay is what it is. Next doc says, why is Xbox using console launch exclusive when one, Xbox Series X games will be on Xbox One, and two, Phil hates exclusives? Because I can tell you, next doc, the medium, all that kind of stuff that was in the middle, right? Um, you know, all that stuff in the middle was timed exclusive stuff, right? That's what, and they confirmed it. It's all timed exclusive stuff. So that's probably why. And the reason why I don't think Phil pays for that at all. I think for the most part that Phil is just like, hey, we'll give you screen time if you want to come on up and kind of talk about your game. We'll give you a spot and you can showcase your game. And I think a lot of developers like that because you can showcase your game. And then eventually, 3-6 months later, their games will end up on PlayStation as well. Just think of all the ones that have happened like that. Ashen, Below, Blair Witch Project. All these games were hyped up as Xbox exclusives, and they all went to PlayStation relatively quickly. Tacoma, these games all end up on PlayStation. They end up everywhere. So, yeah, like for me personally, I was extremely let down. Xbox, I see the comment, but dude, I see Xbox fans talking about how they're let down, man. I can't wait to hear your opinion on this stuff tomorrow. Hey, everybody hit the like button. Maybe we get up over 600 likes. I would definitely appreciate it. It would mean a lot to me if we could do that because, I don't do a lot of live stream. This is my first live stream in a month and a half, maybe 2 months. So, yeah, I don't do a ton of these, and I'm enjoying the heck out of doing this one, I got to tell you. And I've got a lot to say. Like, people keep joining, and they're like, well, what do you think about it? If you asked me to give it a grade, I would grade it a 6 out of 10, and I would say that, that Sony's show was better. From everything that I had heard, this show would be a better showing than what Sony showcased. So I am a little bit concerned that this was supposed to be the be-all, end-all showcase, and this is what we saw. This was like, if that's what Microsoft, if that's the best Microsoft can do, I think it might be a long generation for them, right? Like, listen, let me be clear. Microsoft doesn't need to do much more than what they did. They don't need to do more than what they're doing now. People perceive Game Pass as a big value, despite the games being half done. And they'll continue, and as long you can buy the stuff on PC. PC gamers like stuff like Sea of Thieves, like those MMO stuff. I don't have any doubts that Halo Infinite is going to be a huge game, like on PC. Okay, the thing that I doubt for me personally is if it's going to be a game that is comparable to the other games, right? Like in the series or whatever. Hold on, I see a couple of questions here. Kevin says, glad to hear someone call out devs selling incomplete games. This trend is hurting our gaming experience. Keep it up. Yeah, exactly. Listen, just because you have Game Pass doesn't mean that you should have free reign to give a incomplete game. So, hey, okay, he says, guys like you made gaming a privilege of rich people. Upgrading should be a progressive thing, not just throw your Xbox One X 2017 $500 through the toilet. Listen, I'm not rich. I'm the furthest thing from rich. Gaming is an expensive hobby, and you can always trading, and there's different deals and stuff like that. The problem is, if I'm buying a new console, I surely want games that take advantage of that console. That has nothing to do with being rich. These older consoles are still going to be supported. You want to blame somebody for throwing away the console? Microsoft are the ones that ended support for the Xbox One X less than 3 years after it came out. That has nothing to do with me. Nobody bought it. Nobody was supporting it. Microsoft didn't even support it. In the 3 years that console was out, in the 3 years that console was out, what games did Microsoft put out new that fully took advantage of it? It was like Forza and Gears of War 5. That was it. That's on them. That's not on me. That's not on anybody. Right? Like, look, if I spend $500+ on a new console, it should be supported right away with games and technology and experiences only capable on that. So I have to heartily disagree with you. Cosmic John says, crap, do you have Game Pass? Listen, I do have Game Pass, and and I'll tell you how I worked my Game Pass, okay? What I did was, I have Game Pass. I had Xbox Live Gold through 2022, and they did this deal where if you had $1, you pay $1 one time, and it upgrades all your remaining gold to Ultimate Game Pass. And so I did that. So I paid $1 one time, and I have Game Pass through 2022. If you're asking me if I would pay $15 a month for Game Pass, heck no. Heck no, I wouldn't, because it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Again, let me reiterate this. I'll throw some numbers at you guys, okay? We're in the middle of a 10-month AAA exclusive drought on the Xbox side. Their last AAA exclusive was Gears of War 5 in September. 10 months later, we've got nothing. We're going to get a half-finished AAA in November with Halo Infinite. That's Game Pass effect, baby. That's the truth of the matter. So people can sit there and dislike me or think that I'm hating on Xbox. I'm not. I was ready for Xbox to go out there and do their thing and absolutely crush it. And what they did was kind of crush my hopes, in the meantime. Mr. Eater says it was always stupid for fanboys to question Sony on hardware. Sony, the most innovative hardware and tech company for the last 30 years, real smart. I agree. Sony is a hardware company. You knew that they were going to absolutely kill it with the PlayStation 5, and they did. They did a fantastic job. They absolutely went out there. Hold on. I actually like this. I passed this one through. Listen, I don't block people on here, guys. I try not to. Keep it civil. I love the debates. I love talking about it. Jimmy Bordinland says, crap, why are you such a hater? Please explain to me what Sony has over Xbox, and don't just talk BS about exclusive. Microsoft has announced 22 exclusives, so don't talk that invalid argument. Listen, exclusives. I'm sorry. I have to talk about AAA big-time exclusives. You can sit there and tell me that Microsoft just announced 22 exclusives, but how many are AAA, and how many are these little AA stuff that's going to go to PlayStation eventually, right? Stuff like the Medium. All that stuff in the middle and towards the end is stuff that's going to go to PlayStation as well, right? Like, that's the thing, man. Tell me from what game, my friend, in there gets you hyped up the way that people get hyped up for Spider-Man or Horizon sequel or next God of War. Microsoft lacks those big new AAA IP that really get people excited, and that's really just a fact. That's a fact. Fazzo says Game Pass is not trash, and that's coming from a PlayStation player. Listen, I'm not saying that Game Pass is trash. I'm saying there's a Game Pass effect on Microsoft's first party, and that is keep people subscribing as much as possible by turning your games into games as a service, which means they're launching not finished games. I think it's good for some of the other stuff, like the indie games or the smaller games or the stuff like the Metros that didn't sell very well, right? I think it's good for that. But tell me this, do you really think that it's great that their games seem to be unfinished and going into Game Pass? Like, I think that that's not right. I don't think that that's right at all. Mackenzie Peter says, I still like Xbox, but my problem with them is I can still get most of the same style of games on PlayStation, Nintendo, plus more with JRPGs and anime. I agree 100%. I agree 100%. Fazzo says, Game Pass has Red Dead 2 and Witcher 3. I think those games are worth the buy. Listen, dude. Witcher 3 came out 5 years ago, and it's been on sale for like $5-6. Almost every sale. Anybody who was interested in it probably bought it. I had Red Dead 2 at launch, beat it. I spent 75, 80 hours in it, beat it, done with it. Well before it came to Game Pass, right? I think it's cool that somebody thought maybe can try that out now. That's cool, right? Those are complete games. Right? Microsoft first-party games. Those are supposed to be the driving point, the thing that separates Game Pass from everything else, the big first-party stuff. And they've only come out with stuff like Bleeding Edge, and, Crackdown 3, State of Decay 2. It's just really underwhelming stuff, and that's a bit of a problem. So, Jesus is Lord says, I was waiting for Fable, and they give you a frog eating a fairy. Listen, I was happy that they showed off Fable. Honestly, I would have liked to see a little bit more than that. We all knew it was coming. That wasn't a surprise. Obviously, I would have liked to seen some surprises from them, and I don't think we really saw much in the way of surprises, and that's a bit of a letdown as well. I really hope that we can see some surprises from them in the future, just because, while we didn't get every single studio wasn't like there, but we did kind of see what a lot of them are doing, and we won't really, and it's kind of surprising to me with the way that they handled that. Like I said, I was just a little bit let down with kind of what they did. If you guys didn't also know, Mixer is officially dead. It's officially offline. I was trying to find Mixer to get my free goodies by watching that, and no, like yeah, kind of sad to see a little bit. I'm kind of like trying to search around here, seeing maybe I missed something in terms of what to talk about. So I really felt like Halo Infinite was a bit of a letdown for me personally. Tell me why. That game doesn't look good at all. It's coming out August 27th, or the first episode or whatever. Warhammer 40,000, one of those AA games that eventually come to PlayStation. Let's see, Grounded launch trailer, Outer Worlds CGI or Outer Worlds DLC, Crossfire X campaign. Let's see, Psychonauts 2. The Medium, that's a AA that's going to go to PlayStation. Phantasy Star Online 2 Genesis is going to be on PlayStation 4 and Switch. Ori and the Will of the Wisps, for some reason, gets an upgrade. The Fable announcement. Stalker 2, I guess that's a timed exclusive. I'm not really sure. Avowed is the new, it's a fantasy RPG apparently. So hold on, let's see what I can pull up on this real quick. Let's see. Avowed is actually, it looks like that's cool. I mean, Obsidian Entertainment are keeping themselves busy on top of announcing expansions for the Outer Worlds at the Xbox Game Showcase. They actually talked about also Grounded, which yawn, and the next big RPG. That game is Avowed, a first-person RPG set in the fantasy world of Eora, complete with swords, magic, monsters, and everything else you'd expect from such a setting. That name will, of course, be familiar to fans of Pillar of Eternity, as Obsidian Entertainment's CRPG series is also set in the fantasy world of Eora. So it looks and sounds like Obsidian's answer to the Elder Scrolls, and with Microsoft's financial backing behind them, it might just deliver a game that can vie for that coveted throne. So again, this is like, and that's what I said earlier, I was like, it looks like Elder Scrolls to me, which is cool, because I loved Elder Scrolls Skyrim. That's one of my favorite games, so it looks like it could be up to that level, maybe even more with production value. So we did get one new AAA IP announced, although just a CGI trailer, probably 3-4 years from now, so 2023, 2024, something like that. I was pretty much right on the money when I started guessing some of these games and stuff like that and when they were going to come out. And now we kind of have a really, really good idea, how they kind of work or whatever. So it is very interesting to see how that's going to work. Mr. Eater says, now you know why Epic chose PS5 over Xbox Series X for the demo. Yeah, I mean, listen, I think look, Xbox is going to be fine. I know people don't want to hear it, or maybe maybe you do want to hear it. Xbox is going to be fine for the people. If you enjoyed Xbox and what it's been for the last 3-4 years, you're going to be perfectly fine with what they continue to do. Game Pass is a good value. They're going to continue to add to that. They're going to continue to put stuff in there. But for me personally, it seems like they're going very much more games as a service, like if you think about it, which means you're going to get less fresh new games. Like think about this. We used to get a Forza Horizon game every 2 years, and now, the last one was a bit of a games as a service, and they do dailies and weeklies or whatever. You get updates not nearly as often. So, it's like, when we're going to see the next one? I think that one came out in 2018. We probably won't see one till after Forza Motorsport, so you might be 2024. I don't know. It could be a while before we see that. So, like, the way that Game Pass is working, we're going to might see less releases and more games as a service type. So that's something that maybe I don't really want to see. Like, this is the last Halo for the next 10 years, and we just have to get updates and stuff like that. I just hope that that's not the case. My fingers are crossed that that's not the case, but it does sound like that's exactly what they're trying to pull off with this, and I hope that they kind of change their mind or do something a little bit differently, because I really feel like, they kind of, I agree that Halo needed some changes, but holy cow. Like, why did you have to really do that, to be honest with you? Like, I don't understand why that would be a change at all. Like, I just really don't understand it. So, it is a little bit disappointing to see that was kind of the case. Hey, everybody, hit the like button. Wow, pretty rare. Can we actually get up over 700 likes? That would be incredible. Yeah, hey, all those people pushing RDNA 2 and 12 T-flops, velocity architecture, and, just wait for E3, just wait for July. Now I'm already hearing wait for next E3, right? Come on. If you can't admit that was a lackluster performance and less than what you thought, because, let's be real, everybody was hyping this thing up. I just really think that, you're lying to yourself, James says Halo hasn't been good for a while. There was different, like a Halo 4 had a good campaign, bad multiplayer. Halo 5 eventually had good multiplayer, but a bad campaign. It looks like this one completely got rid of Locke and all those other people. Good. You play as Chief. I think that's really good. Captain Starbucks says, don't forget about 120 frames. Yeah, that's another thing. I was promised, 120 frames on the next Forza. Nope, it's 60. 120 frames on Halo Infinite. Nope, it's 60. Right? Like, we were already getting that this generation, so where's the big changes in what we've been seeing? You know what I mean? I just would really, I just would really like to know, like, in my opinion, the big change, like, what exactly is my reason? What are the big changes? Like, they've got all these studios and they're putting money in it and they believe in Xbox. What's the end result? Like, we didn't get anything that was great. Justin Cochran says, what did you expect from them? I got everything I wanted out of it. It was an A. Justin, you must be easily impressed. What in that conference was something that was a surprise that we didn't already know about, aside from Avowed? What was a surprise? What in that conference, realistically, didn't we already see before? We saw Halo before. We saw Grounded. We saw The Medium. We knew that there'd be another Forza. We knew that there would be another State of Decay. Like, what was new in there? Like, that's my point. Like, I'm perfectly fine with, I'm not going to block people and ban people for having a different opinion. I just would seriously like to know what was in there that realistically is worthwhile. Was worthwhile of kind of doing anything with. Chris says, give them 3 years and their new slogan will be wait for next gen. That scares me. Eero says, Phil said he felt good about their showcase after seeing Sony's conference, like he felt good about Crackdown 3. Don't trust Phil's feelings. I agree. Kevin says 60 frames at 4K is good. To be honest, I'm happy with it. I mean, listen, is it native 4K? What's the Xbox One X version? I would assume that's going to do 60 frames and probably upscale 4K or something. I don't know, but just to be honest with you, I just don't think that it's one of those things that I was super excited. Yeah, exactly. Like, I thought it was meh as well. Everybody hit the like button. So close to 700. Can you believe it? That's absolutely incredible. I thank you one and all for just being so absolutely amazing and getting that done. You've been absolutely incredible. And if you really think I am LMNOP, listen, I'm just saying this right now. There's a lot of Xbox fans that are being very quiet right now, and I don't blame them. I really did think that that Justin Cochran says, did you need a surprise, or that Halo looked awesome? The games look great. I felt good about this, and I was super happy, man. Dude, they've literally gave up 5 years ago. We had one new AAA IP announced now. Evolved or whatever. That's the first new AAA IP announcement since 2015. They gave us one. Think back to the 2013 reveal. We got 4 new AAA IPs announced with that. Where's Killer Instinct sequel? Where's the stuff that people have been asking for? Halo looked like a current gen game. Like, where was the big extra AI and the fauna and the animals and the big open world? Like, where was any of that? Like, I get it. I thought Halo looked fun, but it did look next gen. It's turned into a games as a service. Maybe you missed me earlier when I said this. They've confirmed that this is the last Halo for like 10 years, right? It's just going to get updates, games as a service, okay? It doesn't even launch complete, which means probably we won't get a finality to this story at launch. They want you to keep paying in the Game Pass for that, Where, again, if you thought it was great, that's good. I'm not going to try to change your mind. I can only give my expectations and my feelings on it. I don't think it was great, man. I'm sorry if you thought it was, there was no real gameplay. A lot of that stuff is stuff that's coming to PlayStation as well. Like, they had to me, I just felt like they really were going to go all out, I guess. I guess that's my bad for not tempering my expectations. Everybody was like, "Hey, maybe you should temper your expectations," and I was like, "No, I really do believe that that they're gonna go all out. They have to. They're gonna. The way it was just described to me anyway was, hey, Sony or Microsoft is gonna pretend like everybody that's watching is the board of directors, and they're gonna pitch to you why you should invest in Xbox. Okay, and to be honest with you, I they didn't give me a reason. Like, what was the reason then? I don't understand. To me personally, like the whole idea behind Xbox is to give us these amazing games. Like, how are you gonna sell me on 12 T flops and then show me a bunch of games that look like they could run on an Xbox 360 for the most part, right? Like, and then the stuff that didn't, it's so far away. Like you didn't even we can't even do a Hellblade 2 trailer because it's coming out on an engine that's not even done yet. And aside from that, that engine doesn't ship till the end of next year. And aside from that, you don't have anything to show. Like, what the heck is Everwild about? Like, they don't even have an explanation about what it's about. Like the stuff that they showed was really kind of sketchy or whatever. And then, we got nothing with dates on it. Like, honestly, nothing came out with dates on it. Like, hopefully they clarify, like, exactly what's going to be coming, and kind of exactly when it's going to be coming. But again, so disappointed with what we saw. I really hope that they kind of go out of their way to clarify some things, and maybe it's just bad communication with this whole Halo thing. But from the sounds of it, it doesn't sound like it's going to be completed at launch. Maybe that's how they're so assured that they were going to be able to launch it, because it's going to be ongoing. When I think about games that have done that, they don't usually score very well. Like, even if you look at Destiny, when that launched, it got a pretty mediocre score. Could you imagine Halo Infinite scoring in the 70s? Like, that could be a real thing. And people will go, oh, well, it doesn't matter. Metacritic doesn't matter. When is Xbox ever going to have something that really competes? I'm finishing up Ghost of Tsushima. I beat The Last of Us 2. Like, my wife, who's not really a gamer, I've got her into gaming a little bit, but she insisted on watching me play that game all the way through. Like, I could only play it when she was there because she wanted to see how it ended. Okay? So that tells you how great storytelling that is. Like, great games, man. Games that can win Game of the Year. I thought Microsoft, when they got these studios, were going to be able to put up with that kind of stuff themselves. Realistically, I'm surprised that what we've seen so far has been a little bit of kind of a letdown. I don't understand it at all. Listen, man, let me know, man. Just let me know. Neo says, crap, what they want Halo running on a toaster. I don't know. I don't really know. Destiny took forever to get good. It sucked. Dude, I don't play Destiny, man. I'm sorry. I'm not going to invest time into that. Cool999 says Godfall alone kills all of today's showcase. To be honest with you, yeah, Tetris. I'm telling you, that Tetris game is amazing. I showed that to my wife in VR. She absolutely loved it. So look, people can sit there and go, "Hey, crap, you're this or that or the other thing," but I got to be honest. I'm giving it real, my own opinion. Like I said, Xbox will be fine long term. If you're happy about what they've been doing, you'll continue to be happy with what they're doing. So I really feel like that they're going to continue to go that route. I don't know if they're that hardcore Xbox fan or hardcore Xbox fan kind of friendly anymore. You know what I mean? I just don't feel like they're that company anymore. So we'll have to see sort of how that works out. But yeah, I definitely was disappointed with what we saw, and I'm hoping that sometime they can maybe clarify some of that stuff. Like I said, Avowed looked cool. Everwild piques my interest, but that game doesn't even look like it's going to have anything close to being done within the next 3 years. Hello Neighbor 2, again, that's not even exclusive. Like, they really needed to showcase some exclusives. According to Everwild, it doesn't say anything. It doesn't really say much. Well, according to this, it says that it could be a games as a service, but there's conflicting reports on that. One says it's a single-player IP. It doesn't look single-player IP to me at all. And then Forza Motorsport, which, again, we haven't seen a Forza Motorsport game since Forza Motorsport 7, which was 2017, I believe. Yeah, it launched the Xbox One X, so 3 years. So this game's probably a year, maybe 2 years out. So obviously, it's been widely expected that the next game in the Forza Motorsport series would be announced. I called it. I don't know if you guys checked my video, but my video ended up being almost 100% correct. Um, Interestingly, though, the game in the racing series seems to be called simply Forza Motorsport, which means they're kind of rebooting it. Xbox boss Phil Spencer said before premiering that the game's debut trailer, the Turn 10, are leveraging Xbox Series X's hardware to deliver what looks like a technical showpiece. Forza games usually look good, that's for sure. He also confirmed that the game will run 4K, 60 frames, will ray tracing will be supported. And then they showed off some of that or whatever, which I thought was interesting. The early development stuff is what gets me because that game was in development for years now. So, or it should have been. I don't know. Like, what is up with Microsoft's developers? Like, they literally have problems developing stuff at a decent frame, at a decent time. Like Halo 5 now, that game's taken, what, 5+ years or whatever. Forza Motorsport, that'll probably be 5 years. And people laugh at me when I talk about how long it takes for some of these games to be developed or whatever. And it's quite clear that their studios are really just taking their time. They don't do the crunch thing. And maybe that's why some of their games are so bad. I'm not saying that you have to crunch to have a good game, but it's just kind of clear to me that, man, their studios just are either aren't as talented or aren't able to pull off some of the things that Sony studios are the way that they are. But yeah, this was not a great way to hype. I was expecting a little bit better. Now, supposedly, they're going to, hold back. They held back something. I heard the Initiative game or whatever was something that they held back. If that's Perfect Dark, big whoop in my opinion. I don't really think Perfect Dark is a great series. But if it's a new IP, that could be cool. I actually hope it is a new IP because I went back and played Perfect Dark Zero the other day and recorded some gameplay footage, and it's really bad. In terms of what I can kind of remember, like that game, just absolutely not great by any means. And hopefully, it's something that Mohammed Trokoski says. Rumors that Fable is going to be an MMO. Well, listen, wouldn't that just beat all? If Fable is just an MMO, doesn't that just prove what I've just been saying? That anything AAA Microsoft puts out is only to get money for their games as a service type situations. Mackenzie Peter says, what's sad? Microsoft is sitting on a gold mine of IPs like Banjo-Kazooie, but they never use them. So yeah, I mean that's going to be interesting to see if that's something that actually comes out. I don't want to see that be a MMO, to be honest with you. Warlock says, since dropping the One X, Microsoft has confirmed devs are still going to optimize next-gen games for it, or will it just get the One S version? Look, I have no idea. I would assume that it gets some kind of optimization for 2 years. Otherwise, that would be pretty lame. Right? So that means developers on the Xbox side have to optimize for the Xbox One, the Xbox One S, the Xbox One X, Xbox Lockhart, Xbox Series X, and PCs. So that could be a big explanation as why graphically those games don't look as good, and why Sony, who technically just pretty much focuses on one console, they had the Pro, but, they're basically just focused on the one console, so it's much easier to sort of get the most out of it. You don't got to worry about hitting moving targets and things like that. So, yeah, I think that that's very interesting to sort of see that. I don't think that Fable should be an MMO. I think that would be a bad idea. Fable is a single player, I think they did co-op with it before, but for the most part, I just felt like that. I feel like Fable should always stick to being sort of a single player, or maybe a co-op experience. But I don't think it should be an MMO because I just feel like that's not a great thing. Like for me personally, I love Skyrim, but I don't play Elder Scrolls Online because it's just too much, right? I mean, I want to put in my 40 hours on the game and be done with it. I don't want to sit there and just play it all the time nonstop. Like for me, that's not how I usually game, man. I like playing through games and having a good time with them, but I've never been into like online games or like stuff where you got to go back and grind and stuff like that. I can remember when I was younger, my brother was very much into like RuneScape and stuff like that. And then, realistically, that's just not really my bag. you know. So hopefully you guys kind of understand that. I'm very interested to hear what everybody thinks of. Tetris with Music is a year-old PSVR game that currently 50% off. Yeah, dude, I was telling everybody earlier, which if you are just joining me, please hit the like button. That Tetris game is fantastic. It's absolutely amazing, but it's best played in PSVR with the headset on because it really bangs, man. I was really showing. James says we finally come full circle. Crap handing out L's. I love it. Yeah, listen. This is not a knock on anybody in particular, right? We all know who these people are. We all know that there's YouTubers out there who are hyping 12 T-flops, velocity architecture, claiming that Xbox would be doing 120 frames on all this stuff, and that Halo would be this or that, and, all these, wait. We got told to wait. Wait till what? Wait till what? That's really what I want to know. Yeah. What games are you there to play at launch of PS5? I'm going to play Spider-Man for sure. Mr. Eater says Microsoft actually convinced their silly fanboys that not developing new AAA games is pro-consumer. How's that working out now after seeing Microsoft's vision? Yeah, I mean, listen, everybody should be pushing for AAA exclusives, right? Exclusives matter. And I said this a while ago as well. Microsoft's teams that they bought, their new studios, a lot of them were like subpar AA studios, man. In Exile, Double Fine, these are like AA studios. Those aren't exactly like amazing studios that are well known for like super quality and stuff like that. So I think people sort of have to kind of remember that, and so it's easy to go, well, yeah, they did buy all these studios or whatever. And that's true, but if you look at what these studios have done, like I like Double Fine, they do some interesting stuff, but at the same time, they're not going to do anything super like AAA in my opinion. Like Brutal Legend was dope, 11 years ago or whenever that came out, but I doubt they're going to do another one. Even though we saw Jack Black was like obviously there in the studio or whatever, which I think is cool. Psychonauts is a cool game, but that's a multiplat. So, you don't even need an Xbox to play that, and then the rest of the stuff that they showed, like a lot of that stuff, I have no interest in playing. I don't care if it's in Game Pass or not. I'll be 100% honest. Since they started doing the day-and-date Game Pass stuff, this is the first time where I haven't not only not bought every Xbox exclusive, but I don't even bother downloading them, even though I could download them for free. Like, I didn't bother with Minecraft Dungeons. I only downloaded Bleeding Edge to record some footage to kind of make fun of it. I just don't use it. Like their games have been really kind of piss poor. So I like tell me why I have no interest in that. Battletoads, I have no interest in that. The stuff that I get it. A lot of people like it. I'm not down. I think Game Pass is fine. I just think for me personally, it looks like Microsoft wants to put anything that's AAA wise in there as a games as a service, and I'm not a fan of that. I really kind of want to see them do a little something different. A little something different. Anybody else have some questions? I really appreciate you guys sticking around and all this kind of stuff. I want to answer some questions and find out why. Hold on. Somebody says, why Last of Us 2 flop? I don't know what your definition of flop is. I think that game sold like 4 million in the first week. Like, that's a huge game. I mean, that game's probably going to sell over 10 million before the end of the year for sure. Yeah, exactly, Savage. Minecraft Dungeons is on PS4 as well. I think it's on the Switch as well. Rats says, I'm a 30-year-old gamer, never put down the controller all my life. I'm seeing nothing yet for gamers being 100% honest. Well, listen, it takes somebody like me, right? Like I could have been dishonest and probably had a lot more subscribers and views, but I wanted to be as honest as possible. And again, I think Xbox will do fine. I just think that maybe for me, they're not that company that they used to be. So, let's see. No, Xavier says they showed 5 studios off 15. I think they showed 9 of it. And people keep saying 15. It's like Mojang does multiplats, and Compulsion Games and the Coalition. The Coalition does Gears. So it's not really that big deal. What are my thoughts on the controllers? I like the Xbox One controller, so I think that's cool. Das Misi, he says flop, it's at 5 million. Yeah, and they're also saying that Ghost of Tsushima is over 2 million. Apparently in Japan, it's completely sold out. So Chris says Halo's AI just standing around waiting to be shot. Not held back at all. Yeah, it's interesting. I worried about that. If you Chris, if you go back to any of my videos, I say I want immersion. I want better AI. I want more AI. It looked like a lifeless world with a handful of enemies. And the reason why, this is what I said, Crossfire podcast, all these other podcasts, they're not going to make it so that there's 100 enemies on the Series X screen and only 10 on the Xbox One screen. They've got to match up, and that really kind of paid off right there. Daniel House says, crap, I have noticed the comments you get on your videos. I commend you for not letting it get you down. I feel the same as you about the current state of Xbox. Listen, I like debates, and I like talking about video games. As long as people don't get personal, I'm fine with it. I check the comments once in a while. I don't really respond yet. I always tell people if they want to hit me up on Twitter, they can, or Xbox Live or PSN. I'm much more apt to respond there because it takes a little bit more out of your time, out of your day to go to one of those apps and message me. And so I always try to take the time out to respond on those apps. So, yeah, I kind of do it that way. Mr. Eater says, something Xbox fans really don't want to hear, but this is Game Pass effect. It's a money pit, and Microsoft are not going to invest AAA money into their games. I think that they'll invest, but I think that when it comes to AAA stuff, that they want it to last longer than the average AAA, right? So it must, like, I'm pretty much sure that, they want multiplayer on this stuff and, co-op and, update it with expansions and they want people to kind of stick around and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I can understand why they want to do that. Can anyone tell me what's special about Halo? Because I owned and loved the Xbox 360 and played Halo 3. Didn't like it all. Well, Halo was a really great franchise for the Xbox and Xbox 360. Halo 1 and Halo 2 on the Xbox and Halo 3 and Reach and even Halo 4 and ODST were fantastic on the Xbox 360. It just really kind of did stuff that people thought weren't possible. So I really like those games. We'll have to see what they do with Infinite, man. But I just can't really think that Halo is, Halo to me just doesn't scream games as a service. Like, it's really what the consumer wants. So we'll have to see how successful that is. But yeah, I'm a little bit let down. Are they going to focus on single player games? Annihilator, right? It looks like the single player games that they're going to do are smaller stuff. Hellblade 2, like that's a AA. Ori 2, Tell Me Why. These are AA games. Psychonauts 2. Anything that's single player, they want that out fast so they can get to work on another AA game and put that in Game Pass, right? The AAA stuff, it looks like they want people to keep supporting and buying and that kind of stuff. So it's going to be funny to kind of see that and how that works out. There is no Halo 8, so you don't got to worry about it, Legion. How can Halo Infinite be a games as a service without loot? Well, they say they aren't going to do a Halo Infinite 2 or a follow-up, that it's going to be a 10-year game. So I'm sure we're going to hear much more about it. I have no idea how they're going to work it. Justin says, crap, what do you want from Xbox? What would turn it around for you and make it a day one purchase for you? I think they needed to show some gameplay from from Fable and, and I think they needed another couple of new AAA IPs, to be honest with you. Like I said, how can people sit there with a straight face and go, Microsoft fully supports Xbox now. They're dumping all this money on them. I can't wait to see what they got. They just bought all these studios. And then we see basically for the next 3 years what they're going to have, which is what they showed today, right? All the stuff they showed today, that's probably most of it is either, coming out soon or in 2023. And then the stuff after that is stuff that they didn't show yet. But how can people say that they support them more now, but they had more exclusives, more new AAA IP that they showcased in 2013? Like, and they had third-party AAA IP. Like, to me, it just seems like they don't care. They're perfectly happy with the way things are going, so they're not really trying to attract gamers like me anymore. I don't know. Mohammed says, Mohammed Koski says, only In Exile, Compulsion, the Coalition, and Initiative left. Mojang is Multiplat, and World's Edge left. Maybe Game Pass isn't the solution, but the problem... Like, I don't know. Game Pass is a good deal, but look, the Coalition's working on the next Gears. Compulsion is working on something. In Exile's working on something. The Initiative's supposedly working on Perfect Dark. So if that's your jam, then I think that's cool. But, man, where are we going to get the new AAAs from, guys? Like, where the new AAA IP is going to come from? That's what I want to know. Like, who's going to make them? Obviously, if they're not really going to be, if they're not going to be, you know, made by the studios they have, who the hell is going to do them? Like, that would really be what I would expect. I would expect them to do something. It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. It's really kind of a letdown. Pre-show announcements were better. WTF was telling me why Grounded and Ori 120 frames doing on the main show. I have no idea. Gears, Halo, Forza, Xbox, bread and butter. I don't get it, man. Mark says, I commend Phil Spencer's effort to keep an Xbox hype up, just like how Steve Ballmer with Windows Phone, but you can only do so much. True Witty says, Phil not giving Sony competition. Sony crushed it. I am MNLOP says, no mention today about free multiplayer. Do you think that rumor will pop back up? Listen, you know what? I don't know if the multiplayer will be free, but there's other rumors too, you guys. The big rumor is they're going to drop gold, and it's just going to be Game Pass Ultimate, which means you're either going to have to pay that. That would mean that the price of gold goes up either to 100 or 120 via the 3-month or the 1 month every month deal, or you have to have Ultimate to play online, and it still would be $15 a month or $120 a year. So they could be really going out to left field and making you pay much more for online and stuff like that. Hey, everybody hit the like button. Maybe we can get up to over 800. That would be fantastic. I really would appreciate that. You guys are absolutely incredible. Even if you don't agree with me, even though, you know, some of you I know, we don't agree, we don't see eye to eye on everything, but at the same time, you know, I really do appreciate it, and just I love the back and forth. You might not agree with me, but unlike other channels, I'm not going to block you. I'm not going to ban you. I'm not going to hate on you for your opinion if it's different. All I ask is that you don't hate on me and for having a different opinion. I'm not going to blindly hate on Xbox. I came into today ready for them to blow us all away, ready for them to do an absolutely fantastic job and show us why we should buy an Xbox Series X, and they really kind of failed to do so, at least in my opinion. I wanted to see a couple more new AAA IP. I do not understand how this company that gave up in 2015 has such few games for us, you know, and like, I don't see how anybody could be really happy with what we saw today. Just my 2 cents anyway. Like, I don't see how anybody could think that Microsoft just, you know, that there's a saying in sports, they left it all out on that field today or all out on that court or whatever, right? Microsoft didn't leave it all out there today. That was not 100%. That was not, as Deadpool would say, maximum effort, right? That just was not very good effort, in my opinion, at all. And I really do hope that, yeah, the Xbox event, which I fully, and I even said that, I said I expect that Xbox event to be bigger than Sony's event, and it ended up not being that, so I am let down by that. Mackenzie Peter says, if the Xbox Series X turns out to be a bust for Microsoft, I will not be surprised if this will be the last Xbox. It seems Microsoft is determined to leave consoles behind. Yeah, I don't really know. I don't really know. I'm not really sure exactly. Ryo, hey man, that's cool, man. People listen, one thing that I've learned in this whole YouTube thing, people want to be coddled with the thing that they love the most, and I'm not that guy. You know, I'm sure a lot of people want to be told, what a great show, 9 out of 10. The fact of the matter is, that was a 6 out of 10. And, you know, that's just the way it is. I'm not going to coddle anybody. I'm not going to make you feel better about the thing you like best. If Sony's show would have stunk it up, which I even said the middle of Sony's PS5 reveal stunk it up. It was bad. Okay? Again, I'm not going to coddle you. Good, bad, in between. I'm going to tell you how it is. I'm one of the only that does that. So that's just, I'm going to continue to do that. That's just how I'm going to do it. And that's not a knock on anybody. That's just how I do things. So that's pretty much how I do things, and that's how I'll continue to do things, man. I'm not like YouTube. Like, people want to use it as a measuring stick, dude. Then we can use it as a measuring stick, but there's always a bigger fish, right? Like the people that I watch on YouTube, Angry Video Game Nerd, millions and millions and millions of views, right? I'm just a small YouTuber, you know. These other Xbox people, they're just small YouTubers too, right? There's always a bigger fish. I'm not in competition with anybody. I'm just trying to be myself and be the best me that I can be and keep it as real as possible with people that do want to watch my content. And I'm very appreciative of that. And I'm not going to try to BS people with, making them feel better about something that they like. Man, I didn't hype up velocity architectures. I didn't hype up, like the 12 T-flops. It ended up not mattering. Like 12 T-flops don't matter when you're playing, Tell Me Why or Psychonauts 2 or even that Halo, apparently. That Halo doesn't look like it needs 12 T-flops. Then it looks like it could probably play on a launch Xbox One because guess what? It has to play on a launch Xbox One. And that's exactly what I've been saying for a while. Like, how in the world can people get excited or damage control, ray tracing coming separately after the launch of the game? Like, that just tells you the game's not ready. So delay the game. Delay the game. That's really realistically all I could say about that. I would just delay the game and do it that way. Exactly, man. I see it, man. Some people are like 5 out of 10, 4 out of 10. The Geeky Nerd says 7 out of 10. He says, but if this was make or break it, then this wasn't it, Chief. Exactly. Man Overboard says wait until 2022. Exactly. Blanco says Halo did not look next gen at all. I agree. Far Ducky says crap gamer. I'm a loyal Xbox fan player, but I'm disappointed. Seriously thinking of changing to PS5 and keep One X for Forza. Hey, nobody could blame you. I'm not telling anybody what to get. Play what you want. Spend your money on what you want. I'm just being honest from my point of view. Mackenzie says I will call BS on Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony. Every video game company when I see it and praise them all when they deserve it. This Halo didn't even look current gen. I agree 100%. Where's the most powerful console and the mic drop? Yeah, there was no mic drop, unfortunately. I was hoping that we would have saw something like that. Even the Fable thing, I thought it would have been much better for them to really kind of go out and sort of actually showcase some gameplay to that. Like, you're telling me in the 2.5 years or so that this game's been in production, you don't have a better, you don't have any gameplay to show. You just got some trailer. Like, that doesn't really make any sense to me. So I really do hope that, in the future, they come out a little bit better than that. But to be honest with you, kind of hard to damage control that show. I just really feel like it would be incredibly difficult to really kind of go, hey, they did a good job. I felt like they did an okay job, but did they do a good enough job to win anybody over in terms of, hey, let's get this next generation or whatever? I don't really think that they did. So, that is a bit unfortunate. And, I was hoping for them to sell me on an Xbox Series X. If Sony ended up really holding anything back, good for them. But now would be the time to show it, just completely obliterate what Microsoft did. People are already disappointed. So, I really hope that we can kind of see a little bit better from them in the future. At least that's my hope. So, hey, everybody hit the like button. We're closing in on 800 likes. Wow, that's really good. Yeah, I mean, listen, it is what it is, man. I think everybody everybody likes what they like and kind of does their own thing. For me personally, I just feel like Microsoft should have really, really been prepared a little bit better than that. 5 years. 5 years. Farducky says, did they not learn after their third-party showcase, which was less than mediocre? Lestat says, Crap Gamer, almost all of Microsoft's game trailers were teasers, not even trailers. I agree. Like, what was that? State of Decay 3 stuff, right? That game's not going to look like that. Mackenzie says, this presentation was a 5 for 10. Nothing insulted me, but nothing amazed me either. James says, crap is a gamer. Exactly. I have Brett says I haven't even watched it yet. It's sad people saying 6 out of 10, 5 out of 10. I was expecting a 9 out of 10. Sony's going to take the cake this year. Listen, there was never any doubt that Microsoft was going to win or that Sony was going to win. Microsoft doesn't know how to really compete. Like, Sony left the door open and Microsoft stubbed their toe heading for the door on the first step. You know, honestly, it just they didn't do a very good job, and I kind of feel bad for the long-term fans that are honest enough to really be honest about what we saw and what goes on. And I'm just kind of blown away, to be honest with you. Just I'm blown away by the fact that not only did Microsoft fail the fans, but they failed the hardcore fans that really stuck with them through thick and thin, like me. Okay, I gave them till this little kind of situation, but again, you know, I'm disappointed. Listen, Game Pass is good, and I think that Game Pass is fine, but at the same time, apparently, according to some insider, it looks like, wow. I would be disappointed too, because I'm now reading this live that the new Fable would be a new Fable would actually be a games as a service MMO. Wow. This is not. I'm reading this right now, so excuse me, people. I'll have to see. I'm trying to read it because I have to translate the tweet. Mainly the fact that I haven't seen anything that pulled. Let's see, blah blah blah. Wow, yeah. So apparently, it is supposedly going to be an MMO. That's disappointing. Nah, this is coming from a journalist as well, saying this is an MMO. So again, I guess we could have probably figured. Like I said, don't expect Microsoft to come out with a bunch of stuff that isn't MMO or online related in terms of the big AAA stuff. I don't feel like that'll happen. Kind of is what it is. A little bit disappointed, but you know, still kind of is what it is again. Unknown says Bright Memory game was made by one person. Craps on Halo Infinite game made by 1,500 people with a budget of $500 million. Hey, I want to know what they spent that $500 million on. To be honest with you, what the heck did they spend that $500 million on? Honestly, wow, like that game doesn't look any better than Halo 5. To be honest with you, Halo 5 looked pretty good on the One X, and that game doesn't look any near as good as that. So. Disappointment. 12 T-flops. Velocity architecture. What's it all mean if you can't get the games to really take advantage of it? I'm sorry. If you can't launch your console with great looking games that take advantage of it right away, don't launch your console. Wait. Microsoft might as well just wait it out with the One X for another couple of years and then launch the console. They probably could have had a really cheap price. But, you know, them and Sony want to go, even though they claim they're not going head-to-head with Sony, pretty obvious that they do. But, again, there's nothing that looked next-gen to me, and we didn't even get any gameplay except for Halo, and even that didn't look next-gen, and I'm surprised. I am surprised and shocked that game did not look great. So, yeah, very surprised, very unfortunate. Hopefully that's maybe an early version or something along those lines. Just unfortunate. Let's see. I'm going to answer a few more questions, then I'm going to get the heck out of here. Got stuff to do. Speaking of MMOs, will they charge for Game Pass and also a subscription? No, they won't charge a subscription for it. But obviously, if they still have Xbox, you know, you'll have to get Ultimate to play online. And then, you know, they want you to keep playing and doubling down on that. So it's going to be interesting. Yeah, like, I guess just, honestly, wow. So bad. I should have, you know, prepared myself. I don't understand what they were thinking. The biggest advantage Sony and Nintendo have over Microsoft is they are Japanese companies in a Japanese dominant industry. Microsoft is unable to get a foothold in Japan. It hurts their marketing. And yeah, listen, not only that, but you also have a lot of people. Like, did you guys watch Jeff Keighley's thing, his pre-show? The people that are quote unquote Xbox fans, they don't even play Xbox. They're like, I'm interested in XCloud. Oh, that's going to be great. Like, okay, oh, I want to play this game, or I watch Netflix on my Xbox. I don't, like nobody is like, where are the representation from actual people that hold Microsoft foot to the flame and say, hey, you haven't had a new AAA IP announced since 2015. When you announced the Xbox One, you announced 4 new AAA IP. We need new AAA IP. Great stuff. We don't want this rehash stuff, I don't understand it. It's absolutely ridiculous to sort of think that Microsoft still doesn't get it after all this time. I don't understand it. Sony absolutely just kicked their backs in once again. Like, Microsoft had, a month to react, and that's the best they could do? I don't get it. I honestly don't get it. I'm disappointed. I'm upset. I hope that we can... that they can recover from that. I honestly do hope that, but I'm not sure that they ever will. It's bad. I'm Mike 84 says gotta stay. State of Decay 3 look good. Hope the game, dude. State of Decay 3 will not look. That's a CGI right there. That's all that was. That's all that was. Hey, I am 8 likes away from 800. That would be fantastic. You guys have been fantastic. Give yourselves a round of applause. You guys are amazing. I appreciate everything you guys done for me. Rack them up. Man, disappointed is the name of the game. I will catch you guys a little bit later. I appreciate it. M&C on the comeback as well. We'll catch you later. Rack them up. Game on.